Hello everyone! So today we are going to be learning about propaganda posters. So before we begin, I hope you're in a quiet place, that you're comfortable, and that you are fully concentrating on this video. Have your worksheet beside you with a pen or a pencil so that you can work on it as we go along. Are you ready? Let's begin. So what is propaganda? Now, propaganda can be any kind of message that presents a specific point of view. And these messages are usually used in a political context. So by political context, we mean elections, laws, creating laws or removing laws, and it is especially used in war. So the actual propaganda posters are usually images that promote, justify, or encourage something. These posters were used a lot in World War I and World War II. These posters were used for recruitment, to encourage people to enlist in the army, military, air force, or naval force. They were anti-spy material, and they were also used for the war effort. And by war effort, I mean to encourage people to buy things, to buy American, to help at home to raise money to finance the military. So by growing your own crops, by recycling, anything that could help. Anything that could make the government spend less money, so more money could be for the military. So you might ask, why use these posters? Why were they so popular? And so as we said before that these posters were used a lot in World War I and World War II, at that time there was no television. Television only became popular after World War II. And the radio was not as common as we can find it today. And the simplest reason is a poster is something you look at. Anyone can look at a poster, and they usually had very few words. So what are the different components of the poster? I'm going to tell you the different components and then go into detail of them after. So there are subject, well, there is a subject or subjects, the use of color, there is usually limited text, and this text gives a message, and sometimes the origin or the author is stated. So, concerning the subject, here we have a very famous propaganda poster. Do you recognize who is in the poster? Who are the actors? Who are these main characters? On the right, we have the main leader of Germany, Adolf Hitler, and on the left, we have the main leader of Japan, who was Emperor Hirohito. These two main leaders were the leaders of the Axis powers during World War II. You may see that they are both holding weapons, and they are spying on the globe, or spying on the world, and in specific, what country are they looking at? If you think they're looking at North America, you are correct. And this was a poster used in the USA to warn Americans. The second component is the use of color. So in this poster, there's a dull background, but we can see that the colors red and blue are very prominent, especially with the stars and stripes. Does that seem familiar to you? Red, white, blue, stars and stripes are the colors of the American flag, and so these colors pay tribute to the patriotism of Americans. So in terms of text, the most effective posters had very limited text. Here There is simply one word, and this poster shows how the different forces of the British Commonwealth came together to fight in the war. And probably the most important component of a propaganda poster is the message. Here it says loose lips might sink ships. And what this means in French would be qui ne sait pas tenir sa langue. So you must beware of what you say, as you might be talking to spies. And here we're talking about the Navy. So there was a rhyme and it was catchy. In some posters, the origin or the author is shown. Can you see it? Here it specifically says that it is from the Ministry of Homeland Security, which is in the United States. This information is not always as clear or as easy to find, but it does tell you a lot about why this message is out there. So when you're identifying in a document, there are certain steps. First, you should take a minute and look at the document. What are you looking at? Is it a cartoon, a comic, a drawing, a painting, a photograph, an advertisement, or in our case, a propaganda poster? Next, you need to look at the document and examine it to see if you can find the author-creator. This could also be a logo, and the source is not always on this document. And afterwards, we can say the propaganda poster was created by or was published by. Sometimes, but very rarely, a date may be given, or there might be a number on the poster that can give a clue as to when it was made. But in most cases, there might have to be some research done afterwards. But if the date is done, we can say that it dates from whatever year. So now how to describe the document. We've already studied in class how we can describe an iconographic document. Do you remember? Here, in the corner, at the top, at the bottom, in the middle, on the left, on the right, in the background, and lastly, in the foreground. I hope you remembered. So when we are describing a document, we use the present and the present continuous to describe an image. So if you remember, the present only has an S in the third person, and the present continuous is be plus the verb ing. So to describe the contents of the image, we often use the formula there is or there are. We must locate what types of objects, characters, people, animals, and answer the following questions: who, what, where, when, and possibly what is happening. Is there a message or a logo? And if we want to describe the people or objects of the scene, we can talk about shapes, colors, the clothing, their expressions, the attitudes, and the position. So now it's your turn. How can you describe and analyze this iconographic document? Take some time to look at this image, pause the video, and with all the information we have learned, try and describe how this poster is presented. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.